Well, here's who the Lakers have taken in their previous worst seasons in franchise history.
That's
Pretty
not
good
bad.
players overall, including Hall of Famer Jerry West, Elgin Baylor along the way. They get to do it again after a 17-win season, likely to go to Brandon Ingram. Stacy Paetz is covering the Lakers for us tonight. She spoke with Lakers GM Mitch Kupchak.
Thanks, guys. With General Manager Mitch Kupchak, now you had to wait the maximum number of days to get your head coach in place. Describe the dynamic of communication during that time.
Well, we spoke, as often as possible, trying to respect the situation. Being in the finals and going through the playoffs and, being down 3-1, being up 3-1 with the mood swings and the emotion swings. There were days when we chose not to contact him, and then there were days when you suspected maybe he had free time, and you might put a call in, and then every now and then you might do a text. So we tried to be mindful and respectful of the situation, but from our point of view, it was difficult, but we do have time to work together now, and certainly it'd be better if it was 2 months ago, but we'll get our work done now.
And along with those challenges, how did you divvy responsibilities among your other staff members?
Our existing staff members continue to work on a full-term basis, bringing in players for the draft, working the players out, interviewing the players. We had a lot of our veterans, young veterans that live in Los Angeles, D'Angelo and Julius and Jordan Clarkson and Larry Nance and Anthony Brown that came into this building every day and continued to work. And our staff was completely professional working with them. So there'll be a little bit of a transition. We don't know how it's all going to play out yet from one staff to the next, but our existing staff was great.
Obviously not having him for those 2 months, did you send him reports, videos, tell him about the interviews of those potential draft guys?
Yes, we did. Certainly, videos, the way that's done today, it's pretty easy. And reports, names, lists, and I'm sure when he had time, he would, look players up and get a feel for who they were. But basically, professional coaches, they really don't have much time to follow the college game. With all the travel and all the upcoming games in the NBA, of course, with the playoffs and the pressures of an NBA season, they just don't have much time to watch college basketball. So they do know the names, but not intimately. And even today, although Luke knows the names better now than he did a week ago, he doesn't have a great feel for the players.
By all reports, it seems there's no suspense in terms of who you're going to take for your number 2 pick. If you had the number 1 pick, though, would you still take Brandon Ingram?
If we had the number 1 pick, it may or may not be different than what we're going to do at number 2.
In what ways could Brandon potentially be a good fit for you guys?
Well, there are, there's much being made of a cliff after 1 and 2. That being said, there are a lot more opportunities available to us than just drafting, 1 or number 2. Clearly we can make a deal and end up with a different draft choice, or a veteran player from another team. So although I think that's unlikely to happen, we still have a couple of hours before the draft, and it's possible. We don't draft number 1, so we really don't have our pick of the litter. But number 2, I think, would give us a great player.
Mitch, thank you so much for your time. We appreciate it as always.
Thank you.
Guys, back to you in Atlanta.
Thank you, Stacy. They say everyone lies before the draft. Some just to obfuscate.
Yeah.
Or just avoid the question. Right?
It's been a ride for sure. I think it's helping a little bit with so much work to be done here. With the draft being here and staff decisions to be made and just so much on my plate. It's a nice distraction from the pain of losing a Game 7.
Well, speaking of all the work that you have to do, how did you compartmentalize all the things going on in your mind from being with Golden State to then turning your attention to this storied franchise that needs a lot of help and having the number 2 pick?
It was simple. Golden State deserved, my time, and that's where that was what my job was. So that's, got 95% of the time. And when I was done with that, I'd call Mitch and we'd have a nice talk. But Mitch and them were taking care of everything down here, and and I knew once I was done in Oakland, that I'd completely turn that around, and all my time would be going towards the Lakers organization, and that's what we've been doing for the last 48 hours.
I know you got some video, some reports of guys they were working out during the pre-draft. How much of your ability to entrust these guys to make decisions, was that easy for you as well, or was that more of a challenge, knowing that you couldn't be physically here?
It was tough because I wanted, you want to be here and see these players that are working out that might be on your team. But, they have a great staff upstairs there, and they've done a great job of putting together some young talented players on this team. So they obviously know what they're doing. They would send me, at each video workout on a computer, and if I had some free time at night, I'd watch a little bit of it. But they've done most of all the work and the decision making here today.
A lot of assistants may be able to sit in that first seat, but not a lot of assistants are able to call timeouts for a defending champion under the microscope in the heat of the battle. You did that, and you did it with such poise and confidence. How has that accelerated your ability now to step into this head coaching position?
I think a lot. It was a great learning experience. I thought that by sitting next to Steve and being around the game as long as I have, I would know what it was like to be a head coach. And the truth is I had no idea. And I learned a lot in those few months, from those things you're talking about, the timeouts, the pressure of end of game situations, the media requests and the demand on your time, all this stuff. It was great to be able to experience that in that role before having my first crack at it.
Well, at least the easiest transition for you is that you didn't have to come in here and search for a place to live.
No, I had my house here from when I played still, so that's been nice, because with how much I got to do right now, I'd probably be living out of a hotel room for quite a while if I didn't have a house down here.
Coach, thank you for your time.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, guys, back to you in Atlanta.
All right, Stacy, thank you so much. Much more to get to here, including Brandon Ingram, the likely future Laker at number 2 overall. We'll hear from him as he's arrived in Brooklyn, ready to hear his name called tonight.